This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. So as everyone knows, the Democrat Party is desperate to redraw the maps in places like California, New York, Illinois, these very Democrat states, because they know if Texas is able to redraw and these other Republican states do the same thing, more than likely, come 2026, Republicans would not only retain their majority, they could potentially expand it. And that's why it's a big deal for Democrats to desperately try to redraw the maps in California. And I've said before that they have a lot of legal issues to even redraw the maps in a bunch of these states, but I thought at the bare minimum, they should be able to get California through. At the worst case scenario, everything else fails in Illinois and New York. I thought, okay, more than likely, they at least get California to redraw their maps. Well, there is now a non-zero chance that Democrats are not able to redraw their maps in California. Yeah, there is a chance it could fail, meaning Republicans would have like a net gain of 15 House seats, therefore all but securing the House majority next year. I mean, this is crazy. I didn't think this was possible. Like, it's so bad for Dems. They may fail in California. As a little while ago, a poll was released by Politico, and it looks bad for Democrats, as according to the poll, a vast majority of voters in California oppose getting rid of the state's redistricting commission. 64% of the state's voters want to keep it, including 72% of independents. Yeah. According to Politico, nearly a supermajority of voters in California, including over 70% of independents, want to keep the commission in place. Even though it's very corrupt and a lot of people have problems with it, people in California want to keep the commission. You can't make this up. The Democrat Party, their Hail Mary, might be going down in flames already. And that's bad for them, because if California keeps their maps, I don't see how Democrats take the House in 26. In fact, they're going to probably lose like 10 to 15 House seats. It could get even worse. That's why this is such a big deal. If California does not redraw, the House already is majority Republican. They're going to gain like 10 seats. They're going to gain like 10 to 15 seats in 2026. Maybe Republicans lose a couple competitive seats here and there. But even then, there is not enough of these fairly competitive districts for Democrats to win, to counteract this potentially 15-point swing. Or I should say 15-seat swing. And there are a bunch of seats that Republicans will possibly win in 26 because these are Trump districts that Democrats won in 24. So yeah, this is a huge deal. Now, to be fair, Democrats are not going to phrase the special election this way. They're not going to say, do you support getting rid of the independent commission? That's not how they're going to phrase it. They're going to phrase it as, well, we will keep the great commission in place, but we're going to redraw the maps right now and to save democracy. That's how they're going to phrase it, which will make this margin, on paper at least, a little bit closer. But still, you already have a supermajority of voters that are saying, keep the commission in place. And this was always the big question mark that I've had. Democrats for like 20 years now have been running on the idea of fair maps. That was part of their platform for decades. They were making a big deal about that everywhere. But suddenly, Democrats are now opposed to fair maps or even any of these commissions. Now they're saying, no, screw these commissions. We want to gerrymander every single state, which they already do. Don't let them kid you otherwise. Every time there's one of these commissions, especially in California, it's usually bullshit. It's usually ran by Democrats anyways. But no, they're not even pretending to support, quote-unquote, fair maps. They're just saying, no, we're going to gerrymander California because democracy. So yeah, already, they're in a lot of trouble. I'm not saying it's going to fail for sure. I still think it succeeds at the end of the day. But already, there is a good chance that this goes down in flames. I mean, this is bad. Right now, the ceiling, according to Politico, is 64% that say no, which that's not what's going to happen, because again, they're going to phrase it differently. They're going to say the commission stays in place, but we're going to redraw the maps. Which, even then, there was a poll that came from YouGov a couple weeks ago, and I went over this, but it asked, if Texas redraws its districts to give Republicans an advantage in the House, would you support other states redrawing its districts to favor Democrats? And only 24% of voters support this. A majority oppose it. It's a net difference of 27%. So, even when you say, well, Texas is gerrymandering their map to give Republicans an advantage, do you think Democrats should do the same in their states? And a clear majority said no, with only 24% saying yes. And this is from YouGov. It's probably a lot larger of a margin. And that's always been the problem here. This is just common sense, guys. When you tell Democrats for decades, you tell the average voter, we are going to support fair maps, we're going to stop gerrymandering because democracy. You can't just say one day, oh, actually, no, screw the fair maps, we're going to gerrymander California. You can't say that. Because you told voters for years, you are the party of democracy. You're the party of fair maps. It's expected by the average voter for Republicans to do this because you claim they were the party of authoritarianism or whatever. You're supposed to be the party of democracy. So the average voter doesn't care. It's like, okay, whatever. But oh, you decide to gerrymander your own states to get back at Republicans? That defeats the whole purpose. Your entire platform goes down in flames. And it's clearly blowing up in their face. There is a chance that this could be one of the biggest political backfires in a while. I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen, but you can't, for decades, make this part of your platform and then reverse course in milliseconds. You're not even trying to change the Overton window or whatever. No, just go straight at it. No, we oppose fair maps now. And we consider fair maps a 52-0 map in California. That's what they consider fair now. They're not even pretending to support this crap. It's unbelievable. And it looks like it could blow up in their face. And already, you are seeing some Democrat groups opposing this effort in California. So it's not just these polls showing this. There are some groups, which I know these are not the most relevant groups in the world, but you have the League of Women Voters, a very Democrat group, opposing mid-decade redistricting in California. Yeah, you're already having Democrat groups, which again, they're not the biggest or most relevant, but still, you already have Democrat groups saying, no, we oppose this mid-decade redistricting. It's as if when you make your platform fair maps, and you get a lot of these groups that supposedly support fair maps, they're going to oppose when you pull shit like this. Wow, it's common sense. I can't get over this. I just can't get over the fact that they did not think this one through. They did not think this one through because people want fair maps. The average voter is going to say, yeah, we want fair maps. And Democrats are the party of democracy. They're going to support fair maps. But you can't just say, oh, actually, no, we don't. No. We're going to be so obvious about it. They didn't even try to pretend otherwise. They just said, yeah, we are going to gerrymander California. And now it could fail. And there could be a lot of backlash in 26 over this. There could be a chunk of voters in California that say, screw you. They don't vote. I'm not saying that's what's for sure going to happen, but when you have such a big referendum brewing, and it could be a big defeat, I'm not saying it's going to be, I still think it succeeds, but the more you look at this, there could be even more backlash for Democrats than there were for even Republicans. If Democrats kept their mouths shut, there would be some backlash for the GOP, but now, nobody cares. The average voter is not talking about what Republicans in Texas are doing. They're talking about what California Democrats are doing, trying to gut their commission, and now their commission itself is actually just admitting, yeah, we want to say the gerrymander, which kind of defeats the purpose, but at this point, this could be a massive backfire for Democrats across the board. They did not think this one through whatsoever. If they would have never pushed these BS commissions across the board, they would be stuck in this situation. But no, they had to push this through, and now they're stuck. Because without California, they gain nothing. They can't do much in New York, if anything at all. They can't do much in Illinois because they've already gerrymandered that state to hell and back. I mean, for crying out loud, this is the state the Democrats went to after they protested the stuff in Texas. They're protesting unfair maps in Texas, and the Texas Democrat Party, they flee to Illinois, one of the most gerrymandered states in the country, which turned out to be a big embarrassment for them. So, yeah, don't let them fool you. This is not going good for them at all. There might not be any backlash for the GOP whatsoever. I thought this would be a little bit, maybe. But Democrats, they have just taken the bait on this issue. They're just saying, oh, yeah, we're going to gerrymander all these states. They're just being obvious about it. Now they're realizing they can't. And the one state they could potentially do something in, they're screwed in. Potentially. Again, we got to see what happens. I'm not saying for sure that it fails. But man, if it fails in California, holy crap, the house is gone for Dems at that point. It's just gone. If you're the Democrat Party, you cannot afford to have Texas redraw with 5 more Republican seats, and you gain nothing in California. You can't afford that, especially with Indiana, Ohio, Florida, Missouri, these other Republican states. If they all redraw, good luck. Just good luck. You're not going to win the House with 26 at this rate. It's not looking good at all. We'll see what happens. A lot could theoretically happen. It could pass. But it's not going to be as simple as Democrats thought it was going to be. Again, we'll see how the polls look with the correct phrasing. But not a good start. Not a good start if you already have Democrat groups oppose the effort. You already have polls suggesting that people are going to be against this across the board. And even voters in California, which people just forget that the voters in California for referendums, they tend to be a bit more moderate. They're not as progressive as you would think. There's a lot of referendums that you would think would pass California by a landslide, but they don't. And now the average voter is saying, we're keeping the commission. Screw you. We don't want the state legislator redrawing the maps mid-decade. Because they're going to do the same thing in 2030. They're just going to say, to support democracy, we have to redraw the maps again. Not through the commission, through the state legislator. That's what they're going to keep doing. And it may not even work. So, yeah, the fact this may fail after all this hype and all this effort went to trying to gerrymander all these states, even though they kind of already did, it's going to be hilarious. And they're kind of stuck. They are just stuck right now. They have nowhere to go. They have no other Democrat states I could think of they can really redraw in. Maybe they try something in Oregon and Washington, which they really can't. Same thing with Colorado. You can't do much in the Northeast. I mean, the Northeast is all Democrat except New York, which we already talked about. They can't do much there. Can't do much in Maryland. So California was their one hope, and it's going down the toilet. It's being flushed down the toilet right now. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.